Well, we'll see if it'll start up. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually quite certain that it will start up. Because, as I'll mention later, I think I finally found a problem that had plagued me off intermittently for a very long time. I ride with Casey, and it's a wonder to me how he gets around in the sidecar. He will maneuver himself around in every situation. He does actually sometimes enjoy riding and watching, looking backwards, at least as much as he does looking forwards. So he is tethered, and he will figure out which side the tether is pulling on, and if he wants, he'll turn around in the opposite direction so he can rotate completely. He can do a 360 in there basically because he understands how the tether is working. And the other thing he's very cagey about is basically 35 miles an hour or so. His head is never outside the protection of the windscreen. He always has his head tucked back in behind the windscreen. Let's see. Another thing I should mention is I always tether Casey, and except when I forget to. And it has happened on some of the longer trips we've taken, all-day trips, where he's getting in and out of the sidecar a dozen times or more a day, even in mountainous things like this, where I realize only after I've stopped somewhere and I go in and buy something or stop for gas, or later on I'm about ready to untether him and take him out, that he was never tethered to begin with. He just has good behavior. how I ride with Casey, on myself with the Sidecar is highly dependent, I guess, on the group I'm riding with, or riding by myself, or my mood, or what have you. But always with basically the same objective, which is to do it really perfectly. And I define that a little differently than when I'm riding on two wheels on my R1250 RS, because oftentimes I'm just looking for maintaining a good line and riding really fast on the RS. And that means allowance for many little mistakes along the way as being inconsequential and of no importance, because it had nothing to do with maintaining my line or having a high speed. But on the Sidecar, at least when I'm riding, whether I'm riding in a group and I'm really hammering it and driving hard, or on a trip like this where I'm riding really slowly today because I'm just not in any hurry. We're out for a good time, and it's just true that on the Sidecar I'm always looking to ride it perfectly, and versus riding it fast or riding anything else. And sometimes even other people wouldn't never know this, I guess, unless they ride Sidecar, and I'm not even sure it's something that happens when you ride other Sidecars. But a lot of what I'm doing when I'm riding mine is different grips and the way you hand steer the thing. You know, when are you pushing and when are you pulling, and when are your hands wrapped around the grip, and when they're not. And sometimes I'll put two hands on one side. It's completely different and different. And you can see even here, it's fairly rough on your hands as well. I don't have leading link forks. I don't have anything like that, these are conventional forks that were on the Thunderbird Sport to begin with. The bars are what's special on this one. The bars are about 40 inches all the way across. Doesn't really show in the video that much, but they are really wide bars. I had to get special, I didn't put the bars on here, they were already on there, but when I replaced the front brake line, master line, I had to get a especially long one because a stock one would not fit. So. watched all this way just to figure out why this tug of mine seemed not to start kind of intermittently ever since I bought it more than 3 years ago. And the symptom that you would get was you would press the starter button and nothing would happen at all. Nothing. So it was never really reproducible though on command in order to be diagnosed, which makes everything comfortable. So it became more prevalent recently. And then it was sitting in the garage for a day or two, and the next time I checked it, it was there. It wouldn't start. So I started doing diagnostics, and I discovered that when I pushed the button, power was getting to the solenoid for the starter. So it was definitely getting power. So that meant one of the safety switches in the ground circuit for the solenoid was not doing its job. The first one I checked was for the clutch lever. And so the bike would not start when I pulled the clutch lever all the way in, but when I just kept the button down on the starter and moved the clutch lever in and out a few times, it did start. Fairly well diagnosed. I cleaned it really well. If it is a problem again, I will, and it was very dirty. I can buy them. You can get them. They're not expensive. But just one more thing. Hopefully this intermittent not starting problem, like a dead start problem, if you will, is now gone. The hydraulic brake on the sidecar linked to the front brake on the tug. I can trail brake beautifully through turns right and left, but especially turning to the car. It biases set slightly, pretty strongly for the car that's got a lot of braking on it. So it's always slowing down when I'm going. I can slow it down when I'm turning right. And that makes it so that it's just not going to come up in the air, you know. This rig will skid across the road before the car will come up. It's a nice feeling now that the brake is on. Of course, I'm also riding a little slower all the time because I'm still checking it out to make sure the brake is adequate and that it's all going to work. Holes stay together. In any given situation, the hard braking, the rig will brake about 95% straight, I would say, 85 to 95% straight. But in hard braking, I'm coordinating the front and rear brake and then steering as well. So I don't rely on just dead braking into a corner or to a stop. I'm going to be steering to keep straight at the same time that I'm using the brakes. But compared to the wrestling match that something like that used to be before I had a brake on the sidecar, this is just a miracle. It's a miraculous transformation to have a very functional brake on the sidecar. In case I didn't mention it sooner, the brake on the sidecar is linked to the front on this rig. very near the turnoff, turn left on Highway 9 for Boulder Creek and the Treehouse Café, where I will have a coffee. Casey and I will enjoy a coffee and sit outside for a little bit. And after that, we will ride up to an overlook. We'll ride Highway 9 up to Skyline, and there will be an overlook, and we'll stop there. And I'm going to make a second video about that. So this whole ride is broken into 3 videos. Thank you for watching the first one. So we'll take that ride up there, and at that point I'm going to reverse the camera outlook. So I'll stick it up on my helmet for the way down to Saratoga. And the ride is fun, and I speeded up a little bit more on Highway 9, I think. It's a faster road than Bear Creek, and I respect the residences on Bear Creek and also some of the variations in the road that I've learned to respect over the years.
Hello, Mr. Goggle Man.
Say hi, Casey.